The night was absolute, a crushing, endless void stretching over the land like a great, suffocating beast. There were no comforting glows in the distance, no flickering flames to push back the shadows, only the cold and the darkness, unbroken and merciless. The wind howled through jagged cliffs and towering forests, rustling the leaves, stirring the grass, masking the movements of creatures lurking just beyond sight. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth, of wild beasts prowling unseen. Eyes glowed in the underbrush, hunters waiting. A low growl rumbled in the distance, then another, closer this time. Massive cats with fangs like daggers, wolves moving like ghosts through the trees, serpents coiling silently in the undergrowth. Every night this world belonged to them. And then, huddled together in the dark, were the humans, small, frail, vulnerable. Their bodies shivered in the biting air, their skin offering little protection against the chill. They sat in tight clusters, backs against the cold stone of the caves, pressing together for warmth. The darkness swallowed them whole, reducing them to frightened whispers and the dull clatter of tools in restless hands. They listened, always listened, for the sounds of approaching danger. They were prey, always on the brink of annihilation. A single mistake, a single misstep, could mean death. The day was a constant battle for survival, hunting with crude spears, tracking prey that was faster, stronger, more ferocious, foraging for berries and roots, ever wary of what might lurk beyond the trees. The sun was their brief reprieve, but as dusk fell, the fear returned. The night was merciless, there was no safety, only endurance. But then, something changed. One night, deep in the wild, a storm roared across the land. Thunder cracked like the anger of the gods, and the sky split open in a blinding flash. A jagged bolt of lightning struck a dry tree, and in an instant, fire was born. It hissed and crackled, its golden tendrils consuming the wood, sending smoke curling into the stormy sky. The beasts fled, terrified of the strange new force that lit up the darkness. But the humans, they watched. The flickering light illuminated their wide, astonished eyes. It was warmth, it was power, it was something beyond their understanding. It was alive. At first they approached hesitantly, wary of its dancing flames, its scorching heat. But then a bold one, a daring soul, reached out with a branch and touched it to the fire. The flame leapt onto the wood, clinging to it, following it as it was lifted into the air. The others gasped. Had they captured a piece of the gods? They carried it back to their cave, shielding it from the wind, feeding it carefully, learning, slowly, instinctively, what kept it alive. For the first time, night did not mean blindness, it did not mean fear. They had stolen light from the darkness. And then, one day, perhaps after many moons of keeping fire stolen from nature, a greater discovery was made. No longer would they have to wait for the gods to deliver it. Someone, through sheer determination, through endless failure, finally created fire with their own hands. Picture it. A lone figure crouched on the cold ground, rubbing sticks together with desperate intensity. Smoke curled from the dry wood, rising in fragile wisps. They coughed, but did not stop. Their fingers were raw, their arms ached, but still they persisted. The others watched in silence, barely daring to breathe, and then, a spark, a tiny ember glowing like the eye of some slumbering beast. It flickered, hesitated, then caught on the dried grass. The figure bent low, breath shaky, blowing gently, coaxing it, urging it to life. The ember grew brighter, hotter, until... Flames. Real, crackling, dancing flames. A burst of warmth against the cold night. The gathered humans let out cries of triumph, of sheer, uncontained awe. They had done it. No longer were they at the mercy of the storm, of the random whims of nature. They had stolen fire from the gods, and now they controlled it. But controlling fire was no simple feat. At first it was an unpredictable force, flickering and dying when neglected, flaring too fiercely when mishandled. Through trial and error they learned to keep it alive, to feed it with the right kind of wood, to protect it from rain and wind. They carried embers carefully in bundles of dry grass, ensuring they could reignite flames when needed. They built pits of stone to contain it, learning that fire could be both a dangerous enemy and a loyal ally if properly restrained. Once fire was tamed, its uses expanded rapidly. They discovered that cooked food was not just easier to chew, it was richer, more nourishing. The flames unlocked the hidden nutrients within meat, allowing their bodies and brains to develop in ways they never had before. The knowledge of fire spread from one group to another, transforming humanity itself. Fire became the heart of their gathering places. The flickering flames warded off the beasts that once ruled the night. They sat around it, telling stories, sharing knowledge, strengthening their bonds. It became a source of unity, a symbol of their control over the wild world that had once dominated them. And as time passed, they discovered more. Fire could harden the tips of spears, making them deadlier in the hunt. It could bend and reshape certain rocks, melting them into new, stronger tools. The discovery of fire marked the birth of metallurgy, leading to the forging of bronze, then iron, then steel. The weapons and tools they created with fire changed the very balance of power in the ancient world. It did not stop there. Fire fueled the first great kilns, leading to pottery, bricks, and the construction of stronger homes. It allowed early civilizations to craft elaborate ceramics, store food for longer periods, and build settlements that would last for generations. It became a cornerstone of agriculture, as controlled burns cleared land and rejuvenated the soil. With time, fire became the driving force behind even greater advancements. It powered the great furnaces that built empires, the forges that shaped weapons and armor, the beacons that guided sailors across the unknown seas. It was the fire of the blacksmith, the baker, the alchemist seeking the secrets of the universe. It was the spark that ignited the Industrial Revolution, the roaring engines that would one day take humans to the sky and beyond. But fire's power was double-edged. The same flames that warmed homes and cooked food could also destroy. Entire forests burned, cities fell to ashes, civilizations collapsed in the wake of its fury. Yet humans learned. They refined it, they controlled it, bending fire to their will, harnessing its energy in ever more complex ways. Even now, in a world of electricity and nuclear power, we are still drawn to its warmth, to its flickering dance. We sit around campfires, mesmerized as our ancestors once did. We light candles, strike matches, hold torches high. The ancient connection is still there, buried deep in our bones. Fire remains an eternal symbol of human triumph and transformation. So the next time you see fire, take a moment to remember, it is not just light, not just warmth, it is the story of human survival, the story of ingenuity, the moment we stopped being prey and became masters of the world. Fire was not just a discovery, it was a revolution. It was the first great leap forward in the story of humankind, and in many ways, it is still the flame that guides us toward the future.